can't think of anywhere in the world I would rather be right now. This is fantastic. What a great view from stage. I mean, this is great. Your faces are all beautiful, but there's also like bike tires and bicycles, and I really love it. You know, and it's got me thinking. Actually, when I was in college, I spent a lot of time in bike shops because I lived in Boston, and it was nice and flat, and nothing was too far apart, and I felt like walking was slow and cold, and biking was fast and cold was better than slow and cold. So I biked everywhere when I was in college. I was a total 100% bicycle commuter. And the worst weather, crazy blizzards, like wearing full body armor, you know, made of wool, I would bike all over Boston. And, you know, I spent a lot of time in like local bike shops, and it was fun. And what I'm really thinking about is when I was 17 years old, summer after my freshman year in college, I went on the AIDS bike ride, one of those long distance rides. Have any of you guys done anything like that? Anyone? I'm sure the bike shop knows a lot of people who have. So I did. It was a 350-mile bike ride in 4 days from New York. No, from New York to Boston. And I had every intention of training for this event. I really did. And I started out, you know, going on bike rides, and they were getting longer and longer, but my schedule lapsed, and I was taking finals at school, and it didn't exactly come together the way I had envisioned. And I think the longest ride I went on before the bike ride was 40 miles. And the first day of the ride was 80 miles. And they have this little policy that if you don't make it to a certain checkpoint by a certain time, they don't let you keep biking. They make you get in the sweep van, and you just get a ride to camp that night, and then you camp, and then you get rested, and then you wake up the next day and try again. So the first day, I got swept. But I didn't mind. I was like, you know what? I went 60 miles, which is farther than I'd ever gone before, and I didn't want to wear myself out, so I hopped in the sweep van and I went to camp. Second day, I really wanted to make the full 80 miles, and I tried so hard, and I made it 70 miles, and I just wasn't going fast enough. And the sweep van was like behind me, going slow, like, come on, you can do it, but I just wasn't making it. So they put me in the van, and I, you know, went to camp. And I'd made friends with like a few different people, including this guy named EJ, who was a positive peddler, which means he was HIV positive. And he and I were like really cheering each other on all day and trying to make it to the finish line together. So then the next morning, we started off at 6 a.m. This was the centennial. This was the 100-mile day. And we decided, we were determined, we were gonna do it. So we started riding our bikes at 6 a.m. And pretty early in the day, EJ got tired and decided it would be most responsible for his health to bow out. So he ducked out pretty early. But I was like, I will continue for us. I will do it. So I like kept riding, and I was all by myself, just in the middle of all these bicyclists, and all sorts of crazy stuff happened. I was riding through, you know, like pasture land, and we were in rural Rhode Island, and like by the water, and going through college campuses, and just all sorts of beautiful things. And it was really like a long sort of solo journey. And by the end of the day, I was exhausted. I was on my bike for 13 hours at 7 o'clock in the evening. And we were getting close to the finish line. I'd made it through all the checkpoints, and all I had to do was get to the finish line. Now, we were already past 100 miles, because it turns out it was about 107 miles. So right around then, it was me and like 4 or 5 other riders who'd been struggling all day. And we had the sweep van behind us. We had all these like giant dudes in motorcycles who had been guarding all the intersections, volunteering all day. They were behind us. We had this like motorcycle brigade. They were all lighting our way with their headlights. It was dusk. And so we're like just biking with all our might. It might have even been 8 o'clock because it was getting dark in July. Anyhow, so then all of a sudden I hear this loud noise. We're getting close to camp, and I hear, it sounds like a thunderous waterfall, like just falling water. And I was like, wow, is there a waterfall at the campsite? I was like delirious. And we get around the corner, and there were thousands of people there. All of the other bicyclists and all the volunteers and lots of people from the town, and they were all there to cheer in the last few riders. And they were clapping, and EJ was there at the front line, and he came up and was like, Rebecca, you did it! I knew you could do it! And I was like sobbing. And it was like one of the best moments of my life. And I hadn't thought about that probably in 5 years. And just seeing all these bikes reminded me. So I wanted to share it with you.